Should the Chicago Bears trade up in this year's NFL draft? Let's talk about it, everybody. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, make sure to go ahead, hit that big red subscribe button down below. Make sure to follow me on my social media platforms. And as always, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. All right, people, draft time is here, right? The draft is this month. Going to have a ton of draft content for you guys this month in regards to just overall NFL and then, of course, with the Bears. But I want to start out with this, right? The question is, should the Bears trade up in this year's draft, or should they trade down, or should they stay put, right? What should they do in this year's draft in regards to their draft picks? And this is important because the previous GM that was here, and Ryan Pace, was very much in favor of trading up always and giving up assets. And we all know that ended up getting him fired, or partially played in the reason of him getting fired. It wasn't just that. And so what should the new general manager, Ryan Poles, do? And then more importantly, what will he do? Now, here's the thing. All right, let's just be straight up about this. From everything we've seen with Ryan Pace, he has stated he wants to build through the draft. He didn't swing hard in free agency. And so that would tell you probably does not like to trade up and give up picks because he wants as many as he can have. So right off the bat, you can just assume that he probably wants to keep the picks. But is that the right move, right? Taking a look at this year's draft, the Bears have the following picks: 39, 48, 71, 148, and 186. That lines up with the 2 second-round picks, a third, 2 fifths, and a sixth. Okay, so no first-round pick. Let's talk about the Bears' needs really quick. 3 needs, above all else: offensive line, wide receiver, cornerback. And so when we're taking a look at those 3 needs, and we're taking a look at the picks, and now we're taking a look at the draft and what it can provide you, I can go ahead and tell you that this draft is fairly deep at receiver, decently deep at cornerback, and okay at offensive line. And so the Bears have a lot of needs on this roster. It's not just one thing. And so right when I think about that, the first thing I'm saying is, if you have a lot of needs, right, and you have picks, you probably don't want to trade away these picks for one player, right? One pick that will turn into a player. You probably want to accumulate as many picks and players as possible. So that's what I'm leaning towards. But then I tell myself this: in the NFL, and this goes with other sports as well, certainly the NBA as well, stars win games and win Super Bowls. And so it doesn't matter if you have a roster full of decent, solid guys. You need stars and playmakers and superstars to win Super Bowls, championships, games. And so if there is somebody out there you like that is in the first round that you are sold on, you should go out and get him. You should. And now look, Ryan Pace did that with Mitchell Trubisky way back when. Ryan Pace has done that with Justin Fields. And we still don't know, again, if Justin Fields is going to turn into a superstar. Certainly we hope he's on that trajectory. But for better or worse, Ryan Pace did that. And here's the thing. If Ryan Pace did that with Justin Fields and Justin Fields turns out to be a star, I know Ryan Pace is out here, he got fired, but he was proven right in that aspect that he went out and went after the guy he wanted, and Justin Fields became a star. And you have a star quarterback in this league, and you'll be good for a very long time. So I want the same thing with Ryan Poles in this aspect. Be very, very, very selective. But if there is a guy out there that you are sold on, go and get him. Go and get him. I got no problem with that. If there is not, if you're having any hesitation and you're like, I don't know, maybe not, don't do it. Don't do it. Stick with what you got. Pick all these players up with the draft picks that you have and move on. You can still get a great receiver at 39. Maybe not great, but very solid receiver at 39. And a lot of people want, the big names out there in terms of the receiver position. But they're probably not going to fall to the Bears. They're probably going to go in the first round. And so I'm saying if Ryan Poles, we're just taking receiver for example, is sold on one of those guys, He is absolutely sold. He's like, I know he's going to turn into a superstar. Like Chris Olave from Ohio State, Justin Fields' former teammate. If he knows he's going to turn into a stud, you should go out and get him. You should go out and get him because you should have the courage of your conviction if he has that. If he doesn't, stick with what you got and accumulate all these picks because Ryan Poles has stated he's going to build through the draft, right? This is where his bread and butter is. So go out and make the moves that you know can put your team in the best position to succeed. So that's where I'm at with the Bears in terms of moving up, moving down, or staying put. And we didn't even talk about moving down. If Ryan Poles feels like, you know what, even with 2 seconds, a third, 2 fifths, and a sixth, it's not even like I have a first round pick. I still want to trade these picks to move down even more and grab more picks. If that's what you want to do, go and do it. But keep this in mind. Again, it doesn't matter how many solid players you have on a roster. You still need stars at the end of the day to win. They need a hit. So Ryan Poles got to keep that in mind. So basically, bottom line is this, folks. You got a guy out there you got conviction on, you're 100% sold on, you got to take that chance. You got to trade up for him. If there isn't, don't force your hand. And I know one thing about Ryan Poles, he will never force anything because he didn't force anything in free agency. And I got to give him that. He didn't like anybody in free agency. He didn't force it. So he's not going to do it in the draft. And you shouldn't. So that's where I'm at with the Bears in this year's draft. What do you guys think? Should the Bears trade up and try to get in the first round? Should they trade down? Should they stay put? What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below as always.